A local church changes Thanksgiving meal plans because of the pandemic. A landmark in Miami will get new life.
As President-elect Biden focuses on the economy, President Trump focuses on how to overturn the results of the election. I'm Michael George in Wilmington, Delaware, with what both say about the next step forward.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A long-time Thanksgiving tradition is canceled because of the pandemic. This is KOAM News at 5. St. John Lutheran Church in Pittsburgh is canceling its annual Thanksgiving dinner. The dinner was started in the 1980s as a way for the community to come together during the holiday. They traditionally serve hundreds of people and have more than 100 volunteers to pull it off. But as we face rising numbers of coronavirus cases, the church decided to make a tough decision.
We like to have, people come in and be here and be together and have that opportunity to visit. But we're just not able to do that, and especially in any way to maintain any social distancing.
We're going to hear more from the pastor tonight at 6. We do have a list of Thanksgiving dinners in the area on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Now, today's KOAM News Now Insta Poll. Today's question is, have you made your Thanksgiving plan yet? You can participate at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. Results are updated live, and we're going to check in on them periodically through KOAM News at 5 and have the final results on KOAM News at 6. A previously vacant landmark in Miami, Oklahoma will be transformed into a new destination for tourists and residents. What used to be a gas station will now be turned into a Route 66 vintage-themed diner, ice cream parlor, and gift shop, thanks to the Ottawa tribe of Oklahoma. The tribe has owned the property for many years, but it has been vacant for years. Construction has already begun on the site and could be complete this spring. The Ottawa tribal chief, Ethel Cook, says everyone's excited about the transformation.
We're going to try to take it back to the nostalgic years of like 50s and 60s where you can come in and play the jukebox, and it's going to have an ice cream bar with the stools and where you can get ice cream cones, homemade malts, and it'll have the home. We're going to try to retain as much as the ambiance of the building as we can.
The name of the new diner has not yet been decided. Nick Kelly joins us. A pretty mild day to start the work week.
Yeah, quite mild. In fact, we went from a cold start this morning to middle to upper 60s this afternoon, all because of mostly sunny skies and dry air throughout the course of the day. We're still seeing mostly clear skies on the Skywatch storm tracker. We have to widen the VL quite a bit to see any semblance of storm systems in the lower 48. And even then, the closest one to us is a disturbance bringing snow to parts of Lake Michigan, Wisconsin, and the state of Michigan itself. We're just sitting quiet and mild still at the 5 o'clock hour, with most spots between 60 and 65 degrees. We had a strong breeze throughout the day, but now starting to lighten up at about 5 to 10 miles per hour out of the west. Eventually, with this light breeze and mostly clear skies, it will turn cold again tonight. We'll quickly fall through the 50s and 40s, ultimately down to the upper 30s. We'll continue our mild stretch for a while, but we'll break down when to see rain chances return coming up in a bit, though.
All right, see you soon. President-elect Joe Biden called on President Trump to begin the transition process today while discussing his plans to rebuild the economy and combat the coronavirus. The president continues to claim on Twitter that he won the election, even as more members of his own party push back. Reporter Michael George is in Wilmington, Delaware, with more.
President-elect Joe Biden and Vice President-elect Kamala Harris laid out their economic plans after meeting with business and labor leaders.
Our plan will create millions of good-paying union jobs in manufacturing, building the vehicles, products, technologies.
President Trump is still blocking the transition of power, tweeting Monday morning, "I won the election." But the president's own national security advisor is signaling his readiness to begin the transition process.
If the Biden-Harris ticket is determined to be the winner, and it's, obviously things look that way now, we'll have a very professional transition from the National Security Council. There's no question about it.
Meanwhile, calls from Republicans for the president to accept the election outcome continue to grow louder.
Hospitals are overflowing, people are dying, and our economy is collapsing. And the president is tweeting all day and night about beating Joe Biden instead of focused on let's have a really successful next couple of months in focusing on these problems.
President-elect Biden's COVID advisory team is planning consultations with vaccine manufacturers this week as they plan a pandemic response without cooperation from the Trump administration.
More people may die if we don't coordinate.
Monday, Moderna announced its coronavirus vaccine is 94.5% effective in trials, just a week after Pfizer announced similar results for its vaccine. President-elect Biden warns that while the news is positive, the nation is still possibly months away from widely distributing a COVID vaccine. Michael George, CBS News, Wilmington, Delaware.
We'll have more on that Moderna finding in a moment. The president-elect also called on Congress to pass another coronavirus stimulus bill. A staggering number of people have made sexual abuse claims against the Boy Scouts of America ahead of today's deadline to come forward. The more than 82,000 alleged victims span generations, as young as 9 years old, as old as 95. The Boy Scouts filed for bankruptcy protection before settling these abuse cases. The organization says it intends to set up a victims' compensation fund. Still ahead, a little bit later, brewing your own beer.
With the pandemic keeping people at home, more are making their own beer. I'm Nancy Chen with a spike in home brewing.
And next in Health Watch, more on that company that says their coronavirus vaccine is more than 90% effective. As coronavirus cases increase nationwide, there's a new breakthrough on a second coronavirus vaccine. Reporter Chris Martinez has the latest.
In a study of 30,000 participants, scientists found the Moderna vaccine to be 94.5% effective. Dr. Lindsay Baden at Brigham and Women's Hospital was one of the study investigators.
It is an incredibly encouraging event and such a strong step in the correct direction to stop COVID transmission.
Moderna's results follow Pfizer's announcement last week that its vaccine is more than 90% effective. Both companies expect to have some doses available to high-risk individuals by the end of the year and widespread distribution by spring 2021.
We've got to actually double down on public health measures as the vaccine now phases in.
And not a moment too soon, hospitals in Utah are close to reaching a breaking point. In El Paso, Texas, inmates loaded bodies onto mobile morgue trucks over the weekend. With cases and hospitalizations smashing records, at least 27 states have imposed new coronavirus restrictions on businesses and gatherings. In Michigan, the governor announced a 3-week freeze on indoor dining and in-person learning for high school and college students.
If we don't take aggressive action right now, we could soon see 1,000 deaths per week here in Michigan.
North Dakota's Republican governor has implemented a statewide mask mandate.
I hate wearing the mask, but I think if it helps society move along with this, then let's just give it a try.
Here in California, weekly coronavirus cases have doubled in the last month, with nearly 7,000 new cases reported in Los Angeles County over the weekend. Officials worry Thanksgiving gatherings could spread the virus even more. And Chicago is now under a stay-at-home order. Many people made final grocery store runs last night, leaving some store shelves empty. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
A new study finds COVID-19 patients have an in-hospital death rate 2 times higher than that of flu patients. Researchers in Seattle say the higher mortality rate was independent of patients' age, gender, or severity of illness while in the ICU. New research suggests children under age 2 who take antibiotics are more likely to have health issues ranging from obesity to food allergies. Researchers at the Mayo Clinic say children receiving multiple antibiotic treatments were more likely to have multiple conditions later in childhood. And people with type 2 diabetes are at high risk for fatal heart attack or stroke. Researchers in Spain found that 93% of these patients were at high or very high risk of these conditions within a decade. Doctors say quitting smoking and drinking, adopting a healthier diet, and exercising more can help lower that risk. Let's check back with our KOAM News Now Insta poll. Again, our question today, have you made your Thanksgiving plan yet? At this point, 3/4 say yes, they have. 1/4 say no, they have not. You can join in the conversation by voting at koamnewsnow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app. A little bit later, the IRS is warning some Americans about the approaching deadline to claim a stimulus check.
Plus, we'll break down our miles stretch that'll continue, plus our next chance for rain in the forecast when we come back. Sure enough, after we ended the weekend on a chilly note yesterday, we wasted no time getting back into mild territory. Granted, we had to get past a cold start again this morning with overnight lows actually dropping back into the middle to upper 30s. But look at the highs today. 67 at the very least at Joplin Regional. That's because of plenty of sunshine, dry air, and a good south and southwest wind throughout the course of the day. If you like this weather, thankfully we'll stay quiet and dry, not only for tomorrow, but all the way through Friday as the weekend gets going. And on top of that, we're certainly going to stay mild with a few more days in the 60s and some 70s returning, especially by Thursday and Friday. Then we got to bring back the rain chances. Fortunately, we'll hold off on that until we get into the weekend, mainly Saturday and Sunday, and then a few more systems to watch as we go into Thanksgiving week. In the meantime, though, mostly clear from our cow cam just outside the station, and the numbers at Joplin Regional have us still mild to 61. Northwest wind is a lot lighter now at 8 miles per hour, and that humidity is looking pretty dry at 30%. That's one of the main reasons why we saw everybody push back into the mid to upper 60s. But as we lightened up on that breeze and the sun's beginning to set, we're starting to see lower to middle 60s popping up now, and again, all due to our wind that has lightened up quite a bit throughout the course of the day. We had it out of the south and southwest at 15 to 25, gusts near 30. Now that breeze is lighting up quite a bit at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. That means that light breeze with the clear skies for tonight will quickly fall through the 50s down to the lower 40s at the very least by midnight. And I'm thinking another cold start with most of us in the middle to upper 30s once again before we go back to another mild day ahead of us. Nice to see nothing happening here on the Skywatch storm tracker. There is a quick front that'll park itself just to the north tomorrow, but as long as we're still on the warm side of that front, we'll keep things mild again for your Tuesday. This is our next storm system that'll come at us though for sure. But notice how it's out in the Pacific. It's got a long ways to go before it gets here. And once we get this upper low out in the Gulf of Alaska to bring that system in here by Saturday, it's all about this upper level ridge, keeping us quiet, keeping us dry, and certainly keeping us mild as we continue through the course of the week. Mostly clear skies, that will be the predominant rule of thumb throughout the course of the night, along with a light breeze. It's going to allow temperatures to turn cold once again as overnight lows dip back to about 38 in Joplin. Again, most of you middle to upper 30s again, very similar to what we had this morning. But I think with a lighter breeze and a bit of a cooler air mass in here, we'll still go mild, but not as mild as today though. After we get to 60 by noon, with afternoon highs around 64, let's say everybody across the board, at the very least, lower to middle 60s, keeping things quiet again for Tuesday. Looking down the road, again, it's all about that upper ridge, keeping us mild and dry through Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, but then here comes that upper low coming out of the Pacific. That's going to bring that next front our way. Some possible rain chances Saturday afternoon, but we're going to see the rain chances start to ramp up on Sunday. That system clears out. We're quiet Monday before a few more waves come at us as we continue through Thanksgiving week. Before the rain chances do come in again, we'll keep things nice and quiet. Mostly sunny tomorrow, highs near 64, back into the upper 60s Wednesday. Let's say a pair of 72s for Thursday and Friday. Then we'll see those rain chances with the next front start to cool us back down by Monday now.
Cannot complain about those temperatures this time of year.
Yeah, we're looking pretty good.
You bet. Thanks, Nick. Coming up, a spike in people brewing their own beer. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Aaron DeVolt served in the U.S. Army from 1999 to 2005. The Columbus, Kansas native was stationed in Bosnia, Iraq, and Afghanistan. And we salute Staff Sergeant Aaron DeVolt, a four-state hero. Time is running out to claim your stimulus check. Earlier this year, the IRS sent out millions of checks to Americans who met the criteria for economic relief, but some groups fell through the cracks, such as individuals who don't typically file a tax return due to little or no income. The agency is urging those who did not receive their funds to input their payment information on the IRS's website by this Saturday. Walmart is once again keeping tabs on the number of customers in its stores to abide by capacity limits. America's largest retailer took the action again over the weekend. Back in April, Walmart began capping the number of its customers to about 20% of a store's capacity. And for a period of time, the big box chain had stopped physically counting. As the holidays approach, a lot of Americans are turning to their own homes for the latest seasonal brew. Nancy Chen shows us the increased interest in home brewing.
Stefan Crump typically spends half the year on the road as a jazz musician. But with COVID forcing him to stay home, he has a different kind of composition brewing.
So many people are at home right now, and it's something I had always wanted to do, or long wanted to do, but put off mostly because I'm always traveling.
The Brooklyn father started his first batch of beer at home in April. He quickly became a devoted brewer, even taking over a spare bathroom. Home brewing supplies have been in high demand nationwide since the pandemic. Starter kits began around $35 at Bitter & Esther's in New York, where owner John Lapola says his business doubled in late March before leveling out at about 15% higher than last year.
I have never seen anything quite like it. We've seen an increase in new people brewing and people getting really into the hobby.
The American Home Brewers Association says there are more than 1 million home brewers in the U.S., with 40% of them starting in just the past 4 years. And the group says interest is growing during the pandemic.
The owner of this Minnesota brew store says the appeal for many customers is being able to devote time and patience to a new project.
Almost immediately, once shutdown started happening and people started staying at home more, just the sales started rising.
The precise process can take about 4 weeks, from starting a brew to enjoying a bottle, giving beginners an attainable goal.
I can't make plans right now, whereas the brewing, it also requires planning and patience because it's about at least a 1-month process from start to tasting. But it is something tangible that I can accomplish.
Crump says he'll be toasting to that idea with a bottle of his own for a long time to come. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
The Chevy Bolt is being recalled. General Motors says the batteries in 69,000 of those electric vehicles can catch fire. The problem is in models from 2017 to 2019. So far, there have been 5 reported instances, with 2 people suffering smoke inhalation and 1 house set ablaze. Engineers are still working on a permanent fix. Safety regulators recommend parking the car outside until a temporary repair can be made by the dealer. Fewer people are expected to be on the road or in the skies this Thanksgiving. AAA predicts travel will decrease by at least 10% from a year ago. Motor Club says bus, train, and cruise travel will take the sharpest hit, down 76% from a year ago, and air travel is expected to fall by nearly half. But AAA expects road trips to dip just slightly. Final check of the forecast next. The CBS Evening News is next. Then on KOAM News at 6, the state of Oklahoma is implementing a new set of coronavirus restrictions. We are going to hear from the Oklahoma governor. Plus, Kansas Governor Laura Kelly announces the recipients of state Spark grants. And we're going to hear more from the pastor of an area church which will not be holding a community meal this Thanksgiving. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. All right, here's another look at our KOAM News Now Instant Poll. Again, we've been asking, have you made your Thanksgiving plan yet? So far, 78% say yes, 22% say no, they have not. You still have time to participate at KOAMNewsNow.com/vote or through the KOAM News Now mobile app, and we will have the final results on KOAM News at 6. Checking in now with Nick Kelly on this really beautiful mid-November day.
Yeah, we'll just do it again tomorrow with a pretty straightforward recap of the weather here. 64 tomorrow, mostly sunny again. 68 Wednesday, a pair of 72s with partly sunny skies on Thursday and Friday. Then our next system will bring rain chances back in here for Saturday and Sunday.
Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next. Of course, we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. In the meantime, let's take care of ourselves and each other.